I wasted 2 years of my life waiting for motivation to save me. It never came. And that was the moment everything changed. For the longest time, I thought change would just happen to me. Like one day I'd wake up and suddenly be the person I wanted to be. Disciplined, focused, in control. But that day never came. Instead, I kept waking up to the same mess. The same distractions. The same quiet shame. I wasn't broken. I was just living like someone who didn't take themselves seriously. And I could feel it every single night before bed. That sinking feeling when you realize you spent another day reacting instead of building. So I stopped waiting. I started testing things. Small shifts. Uncomfortable experiments. And slowly, something inside me started to change. Not because I found some secret, but because I stopped treating my life like a dress rehearsal. Here's what actually worked. 1. I deleted my shortcuts. I used to have every app, every login, every distraction saved and ready to go. One tap and I was gone. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. It didn't even require a decision anymore. It was muscle memory. So I deleted them all. Not forever, just off my phone. If I wanted to check something, I had to go to my laptop, type the URL, and log in manually. And you know what happened? Most of the time, I just didn't. The friction was enough to make me realize I didn't actually want it. I was just bored. And boredom used to feel like an emergency. Now it feels like space to think. 2. I started finishing one thing before starting another. I used to be the king of half-done projects. I'd start a book and get 40 pages in, then start another one. I'd begin a course, watch 2 videos, and move on. I'd plan a workout routine and quit after 3 days. I was always starting, never finishing. Then I realized something brutal. Every time I quit, I was training myself to be a quitter. So I made a rule. Finish what you start. Even if it's small. Even if it's not perfect. Even if no one sees it. Because finishing builds trust with yourself. And I needed to trust myself again. 3. I stopped explaining my goals. I used to tell everyone what I was going to do. I'd announce my plans like I was launching a product. And then I'd get this little hit of validation just from talking about it. People would say, "That's awesome," or "Good for you." And my brain would treat that like I'd already done the work. So I went silent. I stopped talking about what I was going to do and just started doing it. No posts, no updates, no performance. Just quiet execution. And the crazy thing is, without the dopamine hit of announcing it, I actually had to follow through to feel anything. That's when I learned people who talk less build more. 4. I created a shutdown ritual. Every night before bed, I used to scroll until my brain turned to mush. Then I'd lie there for an hour, mind racing, unable to sleep. I'd wake up tired and wonder why I had no energy. Now I have a shutdown ritual. 30 minutes before bed, I close everything. I write down 3 things that went well, and 1 thing I'll do better tomorrow. I put my phone in another room. I read a few pages of something that isn't designed to make me anxious or angry, and I let my brain cool down. It sounds basic, but it changed everything. Because how you end the day determines how you start the next one. 5. I started tracking my hours like money. I used to think I didn't have time. But the truth is, I had time. I just spent it like someone with no plan and no respect for themselves. So I started tracking my hours for 1 week. Every single hour. What I did, how I felt, where it went. And I was horrified. I spent more time deciding what to watch than actually watching it. I spent more time refreshing feeds than I did working on anything real. I realized I had been treating my life like an open browser with 47 tabs. Everything slow. Nothing actually loading. And somehow I was surprised nothing worked. Once I saw it on paper, I couldn't unsee it. I wasn't busy. I was just distracted. And distraction feels like effort when you're doing it, but it leaves nothing behind. 6. I stopped rewarding myself before I earned it. I used to treat myself all the time. Bad day? Order food? Tough week? Buy something? Feeling stressed? Take a break. I was constantly rewarding myself for just existing. And then I realized I had it backwards. I was living like someone who had already made it, but I hadn't done anything yet. So I flipped it. Now I earn my rewards. I don't get the good coffee until I finish the hard task. I don't get the rest until I put in the work. And it sounds harsh, but it made me respect myself more, because I stopped lying to myself about what I'd actually done. 7. I learned to sit with discomfort. For years, the second I felt uncomfortable, I reached for something. My phone, food, a video, anything to make the feeling go away. And I thought that was normal. I thought I was just taking care of myself. But I wasn't. I was running. And the more I ran, the weaker I got. So I started practicing sitting with it. Boredom, anxiety, restlessness. I'd just sit there and feel it without fixing it. And after a few minutes, it would pass. Not because it went away, but because I stopped treating it like an emergency. That's when I realized most of my problems weren't actually problems. They were just feelings I refused to feel. 8. I built one non-negotiable. I needed something I could point to every single day and say, I showed up. Something that couldn't be skipped, postponed, or rationalized away. For me, it was writing 200 words before checking anything else. No emails, no messages, no news, just 200 words. Some days it was garbage. 9. I stopped consuming content that made me feel worse. I used to watch videos and read posts that made me feel like I was behind. Like everyone else had it figured out, and I was the only one struggling. And I'd tell myself it was motivation, but it wasn't. It was just comparison disguised as inspiration. So I got ruthless. If something made me feel worse after consuming it, I stopped consuming it. I unfollowed accounts that made me feel inadequate. I stopped watching content that made me anxious. And I started protecting my attention like it was the most valuable thing I owned. Because it is. 10. I embraced being boring. I used to think discipline had to look impressive. That if I wasn't doing something extreme or posting about it, it didn't count. But the truth is, real change is boring. It's the same thing over and over, with no one watching and no one cheering. I stopped trying to be interesting and just started being consistent. Same wake-up time, same habits, same structure. And people probably thought my life looked dull. But I didn't care, because boring is what builds. Boring is what lasts. And I'd rather be boring and progressing than exciting and stuck. Here's what I learned. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more information. You don't need someone to believe in you before you start. You just need to stop negotiating with yourself every single day and start building evidence that you're capable. Because every time you follow through, you're not just completing a task. You're rewriting your identity. You're proving to yourself that you're not the person who quits anymore. You're not the person who waits anymore. You're the person who shows up, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching, even when it doesn't feel like it's working yet. And that version of you? That's the one who changes everything. No one's coming to save you. No perfect moment. No magic method. Just you, your word, and what you do with it. I stopped waiting. I started building. And everything changed.